I was one of the fun days I saw something.
Photos? What?
The eco actually do.
All right. Oh. Oh yeah. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko o tākaro, ko oko wāho ko Puhara Kika Nui o Mataawa, ko Ihu Tai Te Moana, ko Waitai Te Hapori, ki ngā paenga o tātou e mahi nei, ko Mantuka Ingoa, ko au te manakura o tēnei poari, nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good, everybody. Welcome to the Waitai Community Board meeting, and thank you very much for coming. If you'd like to join me for our karakia timatanga. All right. Now, just before we begin, we've got a very full agenda today, everyone. So, members, if we could just be considerate and thoughtful with our questions and how long we speak on items, and focus on the business before us, that would be really good. And look, what an amazing packed public gallery we have. It's not often we have this for a community board meeting. So thank you very much for being here, everybody. Now, I have apologies from Joe Zervos and Alex Hewison. Do we have any other apologies? No other apologies. Would someone like to move that those be accepted? Moved by Kelly, seconded by Greg. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Moving on to declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? No declarations of interest. All right. Now moving on to confirmation of previous minutes. Jackie's happy to move, seconded by Greg. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. So now we're going to move on to the forum. I'm going to bring forward the Eco Action Nursery Trust, who have packed down a public gallery for us. So it's over to you, and I believe you've been given special dispensation to go just a little bit over the 5 minutes.
We have
yes. 1 second.
Can that be?
Yep, just give me 1 moment.
Hi everyone, I'm Ollie from Christ College. This is a few representatives of Eco Action Nursery, and we would just really like to say thank you for helping us, support us and as well our community.
Hello, I'm Sally Morrison here from Christchurch Girls High School. Students from 26 schools and 2 community groups pot and plant our eco-sourced native trees into the red zone. In 2023, the Trust organised 25,000 natives to be planted by students and their families.
I am Silas from Shirley Boys High School. Eco Action arranges land to plant on from Christchurch City Council Parks at Q2 and Atlanta Street. And if we look at those pictures, we see students and the community collaborating to plant and maintain the site.
Kia ora, I'm Catherine from St Margaret's College. We have a successful history of planting the QE2 Adventure Nature Trail. Successes include ribbonwood reaching 3.5 metres tall, Prosma fruiting, flax flowering, and bird habitat returning.
Hey guys, I am Ethan Baker from Shirley Boys. Regarding the amount of native trees we have planted, in 2021, the number was 13,350 trees. Last year, it was 18,000 trees. This year, we have planted 30,000 trees, and it is projected by 2024 that we will plant 64,000 trees.
Hi, I'm Catherine from Rangiruru, and the sponsors involved are CLS Canterbury Landscapes, Christchurch City Council, Department of Corrections, Enviro Waste, Isaac's Construction, Shirley Boys High School, Christ College, Rangiruru, St. Margaret's College, New Brighton Volunteer Fire Brigade, and the school partners are on the list above.
G'day, I'm Turo from Christ College. So this is the financial summary. What value does Eco Action provide? Grant funding support is leveraged tenfold by in-kind support from volunteers. Students and planters report increased feelings of worth and well-being from being involved.
I'm Anna Babington from St Margaret's College, and there's a lot of social value gained from being part of the Eco Action program. The Eco Action program allows our youth community to gain practical horticultural skills, build community involvement and participation, and helps build a sense of place by improving amenity and wildlife habitat.
Hi, I'm Marie from Christchurch Girls High School. The Eco Action program also provides our youth with an improved quality of Christchurch Ōtautahi, whilst tackling the climate emergency through plant sequestering greenhouse gases and improving personal and mental health.
Hello, my name is David Newton. I'm the chair of Eco Action Nursery Trust, and our presentation, as far as the words are over, but if you'd like to ask the students about what they get out of being involved with our trust, that'd be fantastic.
Well, thank you very much. I believe Kelly has a comment. We've still got a little bit of time.
Yeah, look, I say this every time I see you guys. I think it's amazing what you do. But, you know, there are so many people who worry about the climate and don't do anything about it, but you do something about it. Climate action, you know, it's absolutely fantastic. And, you know, when you go back to your schools, tell people how satisfying it is actually doing something about it. You can say that you've done your bit. So I say this every time I see you. Well done, congratulations, really appreciate it. And I'm sure some of you want to tell us about why you do it and what motivates you to do it. So if it's all right, Paul, through the chair.
Oh, no, I'll allow it.
Awesome. Kia ora, I'm Jessica from Rangiru. For me, it's kind of started off as just kind of feeling a bit of civic responsibility. I come from kind of a privileged area and also from an agricultural background, and just kind of trying to shift the blame a little bit and also like show how important it is for your well-being, but also for the people around you. That's kind of been the biggest thing for me. So, yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Ethan Baker from Shirley Boys. I started going to planting just out of interest, I guess. And over the months, it's grown on me because I feel like I'm doing stuff for the community that they can appreciate. A world, actually.
All right, well, that's a great place to leave it. I'm sorry, we'd love to hear from all of you, but we do have a very long agenda today. So thank you, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Great way to start a community board meeting. All right, well, next we have Hayley Leader from the Avon Takaro Network.
How am I going to follow that?
Oh,
You did that.
We're a partner industry with Eco Action, and they're great operation. And as we evolve in the Otakaro, we're going to need more and more of what they're doing. So big ups to them. Hi. Which one? This one? This one. Oh, turn you on. Thank you. How do I move this thing along? Just give me one moment, Hayden. Oh, okay. And then just left or right. Cool, awesome. I'm going to speak really fast because I've got a heap to cover. Kia ora koutou, I'm Hayley Bulera from the Avon Takaro Network. For those of you who I haven't met before, thank you for having me. This is my first time since you started this term. So just a quick update. Avon Takaro Network's been around since 2012 and after the rezoning of the land around the river. And our vision had always been to have a multi-purpose city river park that meets the diverse community needs for the maximum possible restoration of Indigenous ecosystems. Subsequently, it's aligned quite closely with the region plan. So what we do is we advocate for the river corridor and we really hold the communities that left behind, the people that left behind, to make sure that they are honoured. We stayed true to the vision of our vision, which so happens to be the Region Plan vision. We advocate for co-governance, which we've succeeded in. We mentor groups and individuals. We get involved in projects that benefit everybody and support the vision. And we're very much focused on the restoration of Mahinga Kai, and that's both on land and sea. So we've got lots of projects that occur throughout the entire corridor, and we're really supportive of schools working in the space and community groups working in the space. We've got 3 schools where we run a child-led decision-making program. One is with Pareawa, the other Fito and Christchurch East. Each have got their own little space inside the red zone where they're developing playgrounds and things for the community. They're all quite different and all at different stages. It's an opt-in program, and so far we've had 105 years, we've had 100% retention rate in the children that have the program. So lots of things happening. I wanted to spend a bit of time on the In-River Clean today. It's a program we started last October, and we have got a boat, and he's in the water quite a few hours a week getting rubbish out. And we have done 30 odd sessions since October last year. We've collected well over 3 tonnes, and we've diverted quite a lot from landfill. We want to start to see a change in the rubbish that we're collecting. So at the moment, we're getting a lot of stuff from like the 70s and 80s, and we know this because they're old tin cans with World Cup, Commonwealth Games, 1964, that kind of stuff. So we really want to start seeing a shift from that stuff to the stuff coming off the stormwater, which we can kind of tell. So we take photographs. So we sort the rubbish at the Revolution Eco Hub, and we sort it into categories, and we take photos of everything so that we can start really understanding what's happening, where it's coming from, and what we need to do about it. It's actually quite appalling, and we should all be really embarrassed by what we've done to our river. So our goal is to be able in a year to complete 3 sweeps. Well, I can tell you now, we're nearly at a year, and there's no way. We're stuck in certain areas with the amount of rubbish that's stuck in our river. We're using the data so that we can build a business case to make sure that this becomes a regular maintenance schedule with either the CCC or ECAN. And we've been connecting with schools and community groups. So every month, at least, we have a group of kids actually help us do the sort, or a community group. And we're hoping to actually take it to the council and get the councillors to do it at some stage. And then at some stage in the next 12 months, we're going to actually make a sculpture out of the plastics and the pipes that we've been hoarding. So that is a really important piece of work that we've been doing. We're also, I'm just going to give you a quick update, and then I'm going to,
about 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. There's a bit going on, so I wanted to give you an update so you were aware of what's happening. So in a couple of weeks, we've got World Rivers Day, so we're doing that at the Band Rotunda. We'd really love for you to promote the event. I've sent it around today. We're working on a Guardians of the Fruit Tree program where we're going to be grafting and ear-laying fruit trees within the red zone to retain them, because we're going to lose them over time. And we're also putting out a map in the summertime. Can I switch to the map quickly? Does my stopwatch stop? No. While she's doing that, so what I'm asking of you today is to support our World Rivers Day event. Be aware and support the Otakaro trapping program so we can trap with the communities around the river, but also help us to get it over the line to trap inside the red zone as well. Help us support transitional leases and licenses. Help us work towards completing the successful trial of River Clean and make it an essential part of our waterway maintenance. Redeploy the other boom that was in the Opawaho back into the Otakaro to help us with the rubbish collection, and support this map once we get it out. So this map's going out over the summer holidays, and it's designed really to get people out and enjoying the Otakaro River corridor.
All right, thank you very much, Hayley.
Sorry. No,
and keep up the awesome work.
Yeah, excellent.
All right, next we have Lila Janson from Renew Brighton.
Kia ora. Thank you for having me. So I'll try to be short and.
Yeah, 5 minutes including questions.
Okay, yes. So I don't need to convince you about the problem because we all hear from media every day about high cost of living, rising food prices, inflation, and how badly people are affected from that. So Renew Brighton decided to follow up and do a survey. We did survey with residents in the Greater New Brighton, which potentially covers by Murray Beach, North Brighton, Central Brighton, and South Brighton. And also we did interviews with the key stakeholders, which are social agencies who currently work with the food aid and families in need. So overwhelming conclusion was that half of the population feels unsecured with their food supply in case of emergency or recession, and 13% is severely affected. That means that they have insufficient food. 77% said that they are managing, but then we drilled into how they are managing. It's basically skipping meals or buying lower quality food and cheaper ingredients. So then we looked on the other side, where is solution? Currently, there is lots of agencies who are doing community gardens and growing small schemes and supporting veggie growing, which is a great effort. But if we look at the New Brighton population, which is 12,000 people or over 3,000 households, probably that's not sufficient to resolve the problem. So we got in touch with Food Together, which currently that's a social enterprise who buy foods from growers, particularly vegetables, and supply to communities at the cost. So survey showed that majority people would like to have healthy food, and particularly vegetables are overpriced and low quality in New Brighton. And also 90% said that it's very important for their livelihood and is to have sufficient supply locally, because there's a large proportion of people who travel outside of New Brighton, and those who cannot afford travel costs due to petrol prices have to cut their diet. So we are launching a community food supply scheme and first pop-up shop on 23rd of September. And that will be pilot project to see how different community groups can work together and take control over the food supply for our area. So we work in cooperation with Pacific and Maori community, because they also identified need for a different type of foods, what we can buy locally. And so we will be tailoring for ethnic community needs and also for the wider community who currently not seeking aid from the food bank, but trying to manage situation themselves. That's in a nutshell. The report will be available next month, which goes in depth in every area what we investigated. We try to understand how people feel about food affordability, but also accessibility. And third was, do they have enough knowledge to preserve the food, grow the food, and also cook? And the findings were very interesting, that our community actually is quite well prepared to survive if there is sufficient food, ingredient supply.
Well, thank you very much. We do actually have time for a question. Does anybody have any questions? Elise.
Oh, I've seen the email. Where is that going to be based? Do you know yet?
77 New Brighton Mall, which is La Motta building initially. For the first 6 months, we will try out the concept. And then if it goes well, we will add meat, fish, dairy products, and basic food ingredients that it's available at cost. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. All right. And next we have people about Lower Styx Road. So we have Victoria Lindley and Bernice Hay.
Kia ora, thank you for taking the time to hear me speak. I come on behalf of my own family and my neighbours. I currently live on Lower Styx Road and have done for a number of years. Over the last few years, there's been a considerable rise in the number of cyclists down Lower Styx Road. With Alpine View Rest Home and more housing in the area, Preston's Park, Oakbridge, and soon to be Waitakere Gardens. All ages of society often go for rides and a lot are in packs. Cycling crews are always on rides during the weekend. This is fantastic. I often hop on my bike as well, especially as the forest can be easily accessed from Lowersticks Road and the beach is at the end of Hayes Road. My young girls, who are 11 and 9, attend Marshland School and would love to bike to school. Unfortunately, the way the road is for cyclists at present, it is too unsafe. At many parts of Lowersticks Road, the white line is hard against the grass edge and the road. And I've got a whole lot of photos that I'll give out at the end. The gap between the road and the grass edging is also not consistent. This actually contributes to a large number of vehicle accidents down Lowersticks Road, as told to us by Orion. If someone's tyre accidentally touches the grass, and it can cause them to lose control. Bringing it back to cycling, there is nowhere to go. You literally have to ride on the white line to try and stay considerate to the drivers. Speed is another contributing factor, currently 80 kilometres. I'm not asking for an expensive cycle lane, but something where cyclists can be off the road to be safer. A safe area has started at the beginning of Lowersticks Road due to the recent upgrade of the intersection. I would love to advocate for a cycle lane running from the beginning of Lowersticks Road until Hayes Road, Spencer Park's beach access. It's only a matter of time before there is another cyclist death on our road. I often think of Christchurch City Councillor Graham Condon, who died on Lowersticks Road doing what he loved. And then I just took some photos, really. Sorry, it's not on a slide. Yeah.
Are you happy to take some questions?
Yeah.
So Kelly and then Yanni.
Thanks for coming in and raising that. I've cycled down the road many times and yeah, it is a nightmare because of the speed of the traffic at 80 k's. So are you suggesting maybe on the southern side would be a good place for?
I've hummed and hard at that. My particular house has a great, nice, wide edging. Our neighbour is the Tipple, and I know actually from a fact his boundary goes over into the middle of Lowersticks Road. So I'd have to hand that over to you guys to do research on what side would be the safest to do. I would imagine it would be this, probably my side of the road going from Preston's to Hayes Road.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Yeah, no, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yanni.
Thank you. Thank you for raising it and thank you for mentioning Councillor Condon as well. Just have you raised it before with council staff and had any response?
Yeah, I sent Kelly Barber a message.
Right.
And he said that it was a great idea and that other people had spoken to him, and my neighbour Bernice has spoken to Kelly, and so then Bernice helped me. Well, we just booked this and thought we'll speak to you guys first because I don't know what to do, how this works.
Yeah, no, I totally appreciate that. I was just wondering if there was you'd approached the council previously. And
No.
we don't have funding.
No, I haven't. You guys are the first.
Time it's been raised. Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Hopefully we can get some stuff.
You have a questions list?
It was actually questions for you, Paul. Are we able to just have an action from this? Or did you give me advice on that?
Yes, if we have enough time for members' information exchange, we can use that process to ask for more information. We can't take any action, we can only ask for information because it's a public, so it's just a minor procedural thing. We ask for information,
yes,
and then we might be able to make some kind of decision on that basis when it comes back. But thank you very much for coming.
Cool, thanks.
Right, well, that's the public forum complete. We now move on to deputations by appointment. So just for people in the gallery's information, difference between public forum and deputations is public forum come and just share some information with the board. The board can't make any decisions. With the deputation, it's something that's on the agenda. So you've got, and deputations are 10 minutes, public forum is 5 minutes. So for the public forum, it's 10 minutes, including questions. So the first deputation is about an informal pathway for Georgina Street and Preston's Road. And we have Graham Nicholas here. Right. The floor is yours.
Thank you, community. Thank you, community board members and councillors for the opportunity to
talk to you.
Button near Graham,
Oh,
the microphone.
Right.
am I? Yes, better. Okay. Oh, well, we probably hopefully heard what I said. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to this. I live in Preston's Park subdivision, and my submission, which I've put to the board, is in terms of an informal pathway that currently is just a dirt track that runs between Georgina Street and Preston's Road along the west side of the Preston's Park, which is a council reserve. Now, I will be the first to admit that Preston's Park is nicely served by tracks and walkways between the streets and around the lakes, etc. And no doubt these were paid as part of the development contributions or part of the subdivision consent. But it seems to me that this access way from the wider city or from Preston's Road into the subdivision has probably been neglected in some way, and that it is just a dirt track worn in the grass, which is obviously evidence that it's quite well used. So my submission is that we're asking that there be that track be upgraded. My initial thoughts were putting some boxing and gravelling down the middle, because in winter particularly it gets very muddy. It's got a lot of ruts and potholes in it. It becomes very not very suitable to use, and in terms of the sort of utility to the residents, it's also main access way from our west side of the subdivision through to Marston's Road, and we see a lot of kids walking or scootering across the grass between the street and Preston's Road, and of course Marston's School, which is only probably another 50 metres further up Tikawori Street. I've circulated on Facebook the local residents to see who would support it, and I guess like most things, if something's being offered that you don't have to pay for directly yourself, there's quite a lot of interest. I got 65 replies, people who support the idea. I must admit, probably there's a high degree of support for having a sealed pathway rather than a gravel one for kids' scooters, etc., etc. Obviously that would be nice as well, but I'm well aware that it costs more money, of course. I see the benefit to the city, and in terms of council policy, is that by having this having a formal pathway there, which could be more easily used, and particularly in winter, would encourage more kids from our part of the subdivision to walk to school, scooter to school, rather than being driven by their parents in winter. That's probably a main benefit. What's in it for me? Well, I'm a cyclist. I cycle through there to get to Preston's Road if I want to go somewhere. And so it's also, obviously you can see from the ruts, there's a lot of cyclists use that pathway as well. So what I'm requesting is that this project be investigated further by council officers and be submitted as part of the next planning process. It's about 50 metres of track. I don't have any idea how much it would cost to install something, unfortunately. But I think I'm putting this forward as a step to get it into the planning process, if you like. Are there any questions? I'm happy for members to speak up because I'm a bit hard of hearing, sorry. I'm happy for members to ask questions, but I do want to say it seems like a completely reasonable request, and I'd be very happy to support the board asking staff to report back on options for putting the path in. But if anybody has any questions, Kelly?
Yeah, thanks, Graham. That's absolutely fantastic. One of the best presentations, your letter, the support from the community, the photos just makes it really, really clear for us. So, my question is how many students do you think would use it? Because I mean, I see quite a few when I'm coming out of Preston's, and then you obviously keeping a bit of an eye on it as well. You see a lot?
Well, I haven't sort of sat by the pathway to watch, but when I've been travelling there, I've seen students walking backwards and forwards. I'm afraid I wouldn't really have any idea. I did approach the school and I was hoping to get some sort of submission from them, but that hasn't materialised at this stage.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, the board will come to the matter under correspondence, and
yes.
It seems like we're likely to refer it to staff for investigation to come back to the board for options.
Fine.
Yeah, certainly what I'll be recommending when we get to that item. So thank you very much, and for your very thorough approach.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. And the next we have Ian Campbell from just down the road from where I live.
We should see all the students trying to go through that space as well. It's not a great.
Hello, Ian, and good to see you again.
Hello. Which of these buttons do I?
Just press the one that looks like somebody shouting.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I have a PowerPoint which summarises most of what I have to say. What I'm concerned about is traffic on my street, which is Clarendon Terrace, between Bradley Street and Opawa Road. And
One second, and I'll just have it up.
Sorry about that, Ian. We just got some enthusiastic people outside.
so the
And there should be a clicker on the table somewhere. You got it? Perfect.
You got it.
Okay, so my main concerns are the safety considerations arising from traffic on what is a fairly narrow and sinuous road. There are several issues. We've got residents entering and exiting their vehicle, the properties by car, cyclists and pedestrians. We have people of all ages going up and down that street, and it's not very so this is a map from Google Earth. My place is up there on the bend. Down here, we've got the motorway and railway to the port, crossing the Heathcote River, Richardson Terrace and Clarendon Terrace. This is Clarendon Terrace on the south side of the river. And Richardson Terrace on the other side. Now, at the moment, we've got the traffic speeds on both those terraces is 50 kilometres an hour. There's a cycle way crossing here, and there's a very low traffic hump there. There's another one down here on the western side of the motorway crossing. And there's another one down here at Tavender Street, but that's it. On the other hand, on the opposite bank on Richardson Terrace, we've got a traffic hump there, another one here, another one there, another one down here at this intersection, and at that intersection where the cycle crossing is, and another one down here. Altogether, there are 7 on that side, but only 3 on Clarendon Terrace, which, considering that they are very similar traffic ways, is anomalous. And so what I'm asking for is for reduced speed on Clarendon Terrace. I can't speak for Richardson Terrace, but the same arguments apply really, from 50 down to 40 kilometres an hour. Opawa Road down here has recently been reduced to 40 kilometres an hour, except through the Opawa shops, which is down to 30 kilometres an hour. And it's a much wider, straighter street with cycle lanes on either side, a much safer thing. There's no case for not reducing our speed when Opawa Road has already been brought back to that lower speed. So I'm concerned about the narrow carriageway, restricted visibility, the speed limit, and its multiple use. Now, I've already mentioned that, the 40 kilometres an hour on Opawa Road and the speed humps on those. Now, Clarendon Terrace is frequently used as a bypass for people passing through from Opawa down towards Woolston and beyond. And so it often goes at a quite a rapid speed. Speed isn't necessarily in excess of the speed limit. With a 50 kilometre an hour limit, going at 48 down there is too fast. And of course, many vehicles go much faster than that. And there are a number of places where there are tyre marks to indicate speed-related incidents, one of them right outside my driveway. So I don't know how to activate this video. This is from my dash cam to show what it's like. So that's on Radley Terrace. We turn right into Clarendon Terrace. And if you could just pause there, please. We've got a vehicle entrance here for number 3, Clarendon Terrace, and another one just past that pole, which is number 5. And then if we can keep going. And stop there. So you're practically round the bend before my driveway down here becomes visible, so that reversing out of my property is positively dangerous. I'm driving through here probably at about 30 to 35 kilometres an hour. We have cars coming around there at 50, sometimes so fast and going so wide that you see tyre marks over here on the grass. So can we continue, please? So that's where we actually become visible. That's my driveway there. And then another 15 yards or so, we've got the next one down here. So what we need is a traffic hump on both ends of that bend, so that traffic coming from the west isn't going to cause an accident for people coming out of number 3, and traffic coming from the other direction isn't going to clobber me as I come out. My wife and I are both in our late 70s. We have young grandchildren. We're going in and out of there quite often, and it's just scary. So what I'm recommending and asking is that the speed limit should be brought down to no higher than 40 kilometres an hour. I'd like to see it less, but the lower you go down, the more people are incentivised to ignore it. We need speed humps at strategic locations to enforce those speed restrictions, because there's no point reducing the limit if people aren't going to be made to observe it. And the speed humps that are there, and any new ones that are installed, need to be higher and steeper than the present ones, which are not effective. You can zip over the present ones and scarcely notice that they're there. Certainly don't work to make people take greater care. So that's what I have to say. And so I hope that you'll make appropriate recommendation to City Council staff, and so that we can do something about this, because it's a safety hazard which has been going on for too many years.
Well, thank you, Ian. Thank you for getting in touch with me. In case I hadn't mentioned, I think Radley Street is down to reduced to 40 Ks, and Clarendon Terrace is down to reduced to 30 Ks on the safer streets, which is a start. And I think that Jackie has a question.
No, not a question, just an endorsement. I live on Richardson Terrace.
Oh, yes.
And it is also used as a bypass through. And the speeds down there are ridiculous. And when you said we had these speed humps, it's like I can't even remember them. And I drive down there, I drive down Richardson over the bridge, and then I drive around Clarendon. But I don't go around your corner. I turn at Tavender.
Yes.
Because I feel it's safer
Yes.
to turn around there than to try and go around that corner. So just for other board members, just to endorse what's been said here, that is it is used regularly as a thoroughfare. It is used at speeds, and there are a lot of children in that area too. Around school times and things that come and cross that Johnson Bridge and go down both sides of the river there.
Right. Yeah, thanks, Jackie. Just time for one more question.
You said that the speed humps there to reduce the speed. Have you given any consideration to also wanting to have installed yellow lines on that inside corner to help improve visibility along that side of the road?
I think the road is so narrow that I don't think the council would put lines down there.
But it's for no parking on that.
Oh, I see.
So that way there's no cars parking to create a barrier for your vision when you're coming out of the driveway.
I wouldn't like to see parking reduced because people visit all those properties. There's always cars parked somewhere along there, and there's nowhere else for them to go. We do have a few commuters park along there. Now, I don't know where they work, maybe at the childcare place across the river, but otherwise not far away. Other people come to park their cars there in order to get their bikes out, to go onto the cycleways into town, or to let their dogs out, take a walk up along the riverbank. So I think if we were to restrict parking, it might actually make the problem worse rather than make it better.
All right.
But certainly people shouldn't be parking on that bend. It's just too blind.
All right. Thank you, Ian. And we've come to the end of the 10 minutes now, but I really do appreciate you getting in touch and coming to the board and making the time. And we will come along with the other decisions we have to make on correspondence. We'll refer that to council staff for an investigation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, we have Sarah Alka, who's the presiding member of Te Huarahi Linwood School, to talk about the slip lane. And I just want to remind everybody around the table that we're not talking about the U-turn at all, because you can talk about it, but we're not deciding on U-turn today. So you're welcome to talk about it. I'm just trying to remind that when it comes to the decision, we're going to be deciding just on the slip lane. Right.
Tēnā koutou katoa. As you heard, my name is Sarah Alka. I'm the chair of the Te Huarahi Linwood Avenue School Board. The school is in full support of your latest plans, and thanks so much for the consultation work that staff have done. It's exactly what we need. It'll make the drop-off and pick-off less chaotic and a lot safer for the children, for our children, their whānau and wider community. I'd like to make special mention of the new parking signage and the additional fencing at the start of the entrance, which will stop cars parking on the grass verge. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they just open up there. Yeah. So thanks for that. I did notice that there were 3 speed humps there along, and I'm just wondering about whether we could take the middle one out. I kind of got the impression from the briefing notes that it had been taken out already. But that would I think that just makes it a little bit harder to park. And what we're trying to do is stop people. The speed hump at the start is good, and the speed hump at the end before they go back into the flow of traffic is good. With regards to the U-turn removal, thank you for letting me speak to it. The school does not have an opinion one way or the other.
It's very useful to know, thank you.
We would like it noted, however, that the problems we see at drop-off and pick-up are car-on-car altercations. We have not seen any interaction between vehicles and children or pedestrians as a result of the U-turn. Personally, and I'm speaking for myself only, I do not support the U-turn removal because it will send a significant amount of vehicles down into the residential part of Linwood Avenue to the next U-turn, which is about 600 metres away. So well over a kilometre there and back, thus creating significantly more opportunities for cars and pedestrians to collide. Okay, back to the slip lane. We are very keen to see the construction start as soon as possible. And so over the 6 week holiday, school holidays, Christmas, summer holidays would be great. It looks like it's scheduled for that, but I wouldn't mind getting some, I think you mentioned ask for information or something about you could ask staff to make sure it gets done on that 6 weeks. That would be lovely.
Well, we can ask them to do lots of things, whether they can or not.
Yeah, I would just say I would love it to get some assurances that it does happen in that time, because we've been waiting for a long time, as you know. So yes to the slip lane, no to the U-turn removal, and how soon can we have it?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it very easy for us to consider. Questions? Yep. All right.
Thank you for the deputation. Just wondering if the school has approached the Ministry of Education to acquire property to also make things easier. I'm just mindful that I guess a little bit concerned that the school's probably quite busy and quite full, and the ministry doesn't seem to have any strategy to provide more space to deal with.
For parking?
For parking, for pickup, for drop off. So I just wondered if the ministry, if the board has approached the Ministry of Education about any sort of additional support.
No.
I guess the concern that I've got is even with the changes, which will be great and make it safer, there's still going to be a deficit of space for people to.
Actually, it doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like you've got all of Linwood. You've got that little, I don't know that street opposite. There's lots of places, I think, to park. It's just not right next door to the school. And so there's heaps of parking. And then you've got all the pedestrian crossings into the middle section, and you've got two sides. It's just that people have that tendency to want to be like as close as possible. But I feel like there's a lot. What is that little street?
Chelsea.
Chelsea, with that's cut off, and it's a great little place for people to pick up their children from.
Just different. We've had like accidents in Chelsea Street, quite serious ones.
Right.
You know, so I guess I wouldn't want to do anything to encourage more people and kids to be in that space because it's dangerous.
Okay.
But just in terms of the revised design, that's going to be a big improvement for this building.
Yes.
All right, Jackie?
No, I don't have a question.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for coming and making our, helping us to make a prompt decision, hopefully. The staff will come and speak to the report, and then we'll make a decision later on in the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
All right,
thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right. And the final deputation is around Oric Crescent, Cowes Street intersection improvements, and we've got Mike Gibbs and Tony Gemmell on behalf of the Avondale. It looks like we've only got Mike Gibbs. Avondale, yeah. Does it say? It says, I read what was written in front of me and said what was in my brain. So
only got me today, sorry.
Oh, it's very disappointing, Mike.
Yeah, Tony isn't well this afternoon, so I think I can
do you mind pressing the button?
I pressed it once.
Oh, you did.
I think the blue and the red sign, what does that mean?
It's the one with the person on it. You need to.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I'll press it.
Right.
Leave it. There you go. Don't touch it.
Here we go.
Why is it gone green? Yeah,
I don't know. It's magic.
It just doesn't like me. It must be me today.
The microphone loves it.
It shouldn't be green.
Can you use this one?
I'll swap it out. Oh, that's gone green too.
How about I just speak up, because then we're not played, you know? Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
All right.
So I'm here on behalf of the Avondale Neighbours Association, and we actually do agree with the motion that's put. a continuation of a structure at the intersection of Oric and Cowes. But we would like to see more calming measures put in place on Oric further towards Wainoni Road and as you enter Brymont Street, to stop people going down Brymont Street and becoming antisocial down there. Many residents in Brymont have wanted calming measures down the street for years now. However, with the placement of a structure in Oric, more traffic is coming back down Brymont than ever before. A resident in Brymont commented just recently, the antisocial drivers have moved back to Brymont and doing burnouts down by Waitai Street. Another in Cowes Street, another resident that is, commented, definitely no more donuts down here, speeding or crashes happening anymore, which is a great success. But there has been a majority of residents who say it's an eyesore, and from the consultations with residents, both through the surveys that you've done and the conversations and social media that we've been put up recently, are still unhappy that it's unsafe and drivers who are travelling the wrong way through the roundabout. 44% of residents surveyed did say that the speeding had stopped, but 48% of the residents surveyed did not feel safer. And actually, I put that as well in the survey that I did. And they thought the anti-social behaviour would still exist, which I witnessed even just last night in my walk around the block. Fortunately, they are now coming down Brymont onto Waratah and doing burnouts down the end of Brymont by Warwick before our lovely bridge there. However, we are getting there slowly. We thank you for agreeing to a slow speed neighbourhood and for the change in speed in front of Chisnellwood on Breezes Road, and that goes into Avondale Road, and of course on Pembroke, which we were previously 40. However, we feel a little bit more thought needs to go into the design of what is best for that T intersection at Oric and Cowes. And we think that you will find most residents would like to be consulted on this design. So it doesn't really affect parking and entering the existing properties near the corner. And we all want to take pride in our community so that it feels attractive and much safer. Now, Tony was going to be here today to show you a slide, which have you got the slide that he has come up with, as he is an engineer and has dealt with this sort of intersection before. He thinks that cars still being able to go straight up and down Oric should still be allowed, and yet the smaller entrances to Cowes will slow the vehicles down still. And with the calming measures on both sides of this intersection, should work in exactly the same way as our current roundabout has. But again, I'm no engineer, so I was just taking his word for it. And so we're getting there slowly, and we thank you for listening to us.
Thank you, Mike. We'll have to get it. We've got the report, and the staff will provide the report, and maybe so answer some questions about that as a design option as well. But it does seem like the changes to it will mitigate some of the stuff that came up in the consultation around, in terms of the problems with the existing layout. All right, do we have any other questions, Greg?
Do you know if there's a particular time of day that there's more issues with? I know it was noted a lot of people were crossing to the wrong side of the road. When I was there myself looking at watching it, there was no signs of anyone doing that. Obviously, that never happens when you're there. But is there a particular time those things that you really noted at?
Yeah, between 5 and 8:30 at night. So when people are coming home from work, obviously, and wanting to get home or whatever. I was sitting outside our home place in Brymont. I live on Brymont Street 2 nights ago, just sorting some stuff out, and there were 3 or 4 cars that zoomed down there, and I knew that they were residents of Oric and Waitai streets, and I knew that they were trying to get home as quick as they could down the street that was just flat, and you can sort of tell them to slow down as they pass like this. They either do another, wave at you, or they no, and you get known to some of these drivers who just ignore you, but you know who they are, and we don't want more coming down an extra street rather than going around the way they should be going. And I think Tony, in his conversations with me in the last couple of days, said, the neighbours around that intersection were concerned about coming in and out of their driveways too, which I had heard on my consultations, because it is too tight, and when someone comes around that corner and all of a sudden they're trying to back out, they can't back out properly. So yeah, you're just trying to find a solution that's best for the area and those neighbours close by.
And the other thing was, obviously there's a lot of attention on the one intersection, but from sort of reading that and hearing what you've said, do you think it's kind of like a wider area plan needs to be created rather than just a single point being looked at?
Yes, definitely.
All right, thank you. Any further questions? All right, no further questions then. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll come to the decision relatively shortly, hopefully. All right, so next we move on to the presentation of petitions. We have Amy Cummins here, a local resident from Parnwell Street, to present a petition.
I do have a presentation slide. You got it on? It just because we're live streaming, I can't change computers.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, we do have. Is it the same as what you've seen to us?
No, it's just the petition that you guys have got. You don't have the presentation. If you email it through to me now, I haven't got connection.
Want to bounce off my phone?
There's Wi-Fi here.
It's Wi-Fi here.
It's just public, isn't it, Cindy?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll delete it.
It's consistent.
It's quite interesting. So.
I'm sure Kelly's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jackie, I'm just going to step away from the table very briefly.
Okay, that's fine.
That means you come and Jackie. That means you come to the chair.
Here you go, Jackie.
Do you want me to have a 2 minutes? Jackie, do you want me to have a 2 minute recess?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Right, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Right. I am pushing the shout button. Okay.
I haven't got it yet.
You were naughty when I was asked to be chair, so yeah, I'm going to
It hasn't come through. Maybe you do it in 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll just call it just a 2-minute recess while we're waiting on this email.
And we are live. The floor is yours, up to 10 minutes, including questions.
10 minutes, oh, thank you. So you have, I have already, on behalf of Parnwell Street, the residents of Parnwell Street, I have a petition on a very similar theme to what other people have been speaking about to you guys today. And it is to do with the traffic on our road. What is the problem, you ask? Well, there is increased traffic out of proportion for our road status, and that traffic, due to the nature of using our street as a shortcut, is driving at dangerous speeds. The potential outcome is risk of serious harm to cyclists and pedestrians, in particular our children. There have been far too many near misses, and we will no longer stand by to wait and see whose children it will be next that gets harmed. Hence, I'm here today. In 2021, the then area traffic engineer for Burwood and Coastal provided me with volume data for our street, for Bassett Street, and also for Burwood Road. Between 2007 and 2019, the traffic on Parnwell Street has increased a whopping 25%. We believe this has gotten far worse in the last 4 years since then. We realise that not all of it is the council's responsibility or the impact that council has had, because a lot of those changes have happened on Travis Road. But we would still like something done about on our street specifically. In slide, I can click this, can I? To move it along.
Yeah.
So can I initiate that? No, maybe not.
Is that a video?
Video, yeah.
Give me 1 second, sorry.
It's okay, it might not. Oh yeah. Here's a short video clip taken from a neighbour's security camera. We are looking at the intersection between Parnwell Street and Travis Road. It shows the volume of traffic using this intersection. Parnwell Street is only a primary collector road. It is not arterial. We would like to request a 40-kilometre speed limit and 20-kilometre speed bumps with neighbourhood enhancing gardens similar to those on Aylesford Street. Oh, that's us. Yeah, so that's the that's from the Wakakatahi site, showing the status of each type of road, and Parnwell Street is the primary collector in the pale blue. Yeah. And the Bassett Street is a minor arterial. This is a photo taken from Aylesford Street with the speed humps that we would like to request for Parnwell Street. We'd also recommend, sorry, I lost my thought. We understand that the council is about building and promoting communities, and we believe this will be in alignment with that goal. We'd also recommend a change in the Bassett Street, Parnwell Street intersection to force a deliberate slowdown and a turn left from Bassett Street into Parnwell when heading north. At the moment, everybody races down. So where the arrow is where we're recommending a widening of that road, of that area, just in front of the dairy. So cordoning this bit off, because everybody just comes straight up here. And we'd like to have that cordoned off, similar to what has happened on Hills Road, with the Hills Road, Akaroa Street intersection. Yep. So at the moment, traffic comes up here. For some reason, it's actually marked as being not straight, but it is treated as straight. It's kind of bizarre. And so when you're heading south, you come out this way. So traffic is forced to slow down here and give way. But when you're heading north, it's just free for all. So what we'd like to recommend is widening of this. There's a power pole here. We believe that could be moved back, and this could be widened. We have that as a two-way. This is cordoned off. Any parking that's lost in here could be moved to this side. And also a platform area here for pedestrians to force the slowdown of traffic. We understand there are issues around driveways in here. This is what I was told by the area traffic engineer at the time, and this is why we've got these white lines painted on here. But we believe that by cordoning off this area and widening it here, it would actually get around that issue. A raised, as I said, a raised platform on that T intersection would also help with pedestrian and cyclist safety for those crossing to the local dairy or local pharmacy or heading to school and trying to check for traffic, which comes from all directions at great speed. We believe all three of these changes would move heavy vehicles back to using Bassett Street, because we have, for some reason, trucks and buses that never used to use Palmwell Street are now using Palmwell Street as a shortcut. We'd like to see that those heavy vehicles go back to Bassett Street when heading north as they used to. And traffic heading south will be more evenly split between Burwood Road and Palmwell Street as southbound options. I have a little poem for you.
It's not 3 minutes and 45 seconds, is it?
It's a short poem. In 2009, we fell in love with a house on a lovely wee street that was quiet. Sure, we were close to a main road and a dairy at the end, but it was perfect for the kids, so we said, let's buy it. Since then, there have been changes, and not all of them good. Traffic lights at Burwood, changes on Bassett, a Google Maps shortcut through our neighbourhood. There's other ways to head south. They could take Burwood or Bassett. Bassett's an arterial with declining numbers, so why do Palmwell's numbers smash it? We welcome the council to come be our saviour. Our families are suffering from bad traffic behaviour. It might be good for the buses and faster for the trucks, but as far as it is for our kids' safety, we're running out of luck. And I'm sorry that one of our neighbours' kids aren't here today, because they were in a situation where the car came round off Travis Road, turning into Palmwell Street extremely quickly because they tried to get across the west moving traffic on Travis Road. They were on the pavement going to school and nearly got hit. And there was a lady behind that person in the car who was absolutely distraught. She pulled over and she thought those kids had been hit. She was so devastated. We just need something done about it. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and for the effort you put in to your presentation to us. I am one of those people that uses that road but I don't.
Many others.
Yes, I don't drive it that often, but when we do go north out of the city, we tend to go that way. And I have seen a few misses on the intersection. We got Yanni, and then Kelly, and then Greg.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand. There's a lot of kids.
It has to be quick though.
Yeah, our children and family use the street. So I'm not sure if you're aware of the Streets for People projects that council's doing, but do you think it would be good to approach government? On an annual basis, we can apply for Streets for People projects, which is about making more pedestrian friendly, safer. Do you think this area needs a kind of overall project to make it safer, like a Streets for People type?
That would be really good. Yeah, that would be really good.
All right, thanks, Yanni. We've only got time for one question each. Kelly and then Greg.
Just very briefly, thanks, Amy. And for those that don't know, Amy lives at number 50. I used to live at number 49 and had a number of houses in Palmwell and Bassett Street. Totally agree with what you're saying. And the traffic really should be going down Bassett Street when heading north. My question is really around traffic flows. Where do you see the worst behaviour? Is it people going north, coming out of Bassett, powering up Palmwell, or is it coming around the corner and from Travis Road and accelerating?
The worst of it is heading south, so accelerating around that corner, and it also causes, there's a lot of traffic that turns south into our road and it backs up and blocks. I don't understand why it's still allowed to continue, really, because Travis Country Drive gets blocked as well, particularly at 5 o'clock traffic. It's crazy. There's just not enough space.
But
Great presentation.
all right, thank you. Very quick, Greg.
Yeah, actually, that's my question is like, have you seen any issues on that north end on Travis Road around traffic backing up with turning right and being south? Yes, that was pretty much what I was going to raise.
Yeah. Certainly.
What action?
Could I kindly request that you send me a copy of what you read from the poem, just so I can attach that and the presentation to the minute?
Yeah, your poem will be published. Thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you for your time.
If you would like to sit in the gallery, we can make a quick decision on that we'll have to refer it to staff for.
We need to receive the petition.
Do you need the original copy as well?
The original,
Yes, please.
if you're happy to. So the resolution, which is on the, Cindy will take that from you. The resolution that's on the up there is that the Waitai Coastal-Burwood-Linwood Community Board receives the petition and refers the issues raised to staff for investigation and response back to the community board. And that's been moved by Kelly and seconded by, was it Jackie or Greg?
I think all young.
Hold on a second. We have
I'll have to let Greg do it.
so it's moved by Kelly, seconded by Greg. It's on, and this is a question for clarification.
Yeah, it's just a question for clarification of the resolution. Will it include the process that will advise on being able to apply for streets for people funding?
That's not in the resolution, so
So should I add
until
it?
you want that in the resolution,
No.
this is what will go to.
So we have a motion. Do you want to propose an amendment?
Well, it's pretty wide open in terms of referring to issues, but it'd be good to get, as part of the report back, opportunities for funding the safety improvements at the same time. So, I mean, if that needs to be formally added, I'll do that. Receive the petition and refer the issues raised.
We can. So, I think an easy way around this to speed it up is just we put a note in provision saying note the board. The board. Would like included in this. Advice around funding sources.
I just don't want to miss the next streets for people around, or if we've got surplus from some of the other.
Funding sources for.
Safety improvements, e.g. streets for people. Yep. Okay, on that basis, I don't think there's any debate. So motion will now be put. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. There you go. Thank you very much. And when we hear about that, the staff will let you know. Right, thank you. So now we're moving on to correspondence. We'll put all those things together because we need to do the same thing with all of them, which is receive the correspondence and refer to staff for investigation and response back to the community board. So I'll move that from the chair. Does anyone want a second?
Yeah.
Seconded by Jackie. You have another question?
Again, just in regards to item 3, one of the issues is that's one of the proposed MCR routes. So I wonder if we just need to get some advice back around the MCR and also the other thing that was proposed for bank stabilisation or low stock banks.
I'm sure that will come up in staff's investigation.
I don't think we need to add that. All those things need to be expected. You'd expect that.
Okay, cool.
All right. So any further discussion? No. All right. Well, the motion will now be put. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. All right. Just note that Kelly was outside of the room. And now we'll move on to staff reports. So first is the Linwood Ave Lane. So we have Andrew Cameron and Sam Smith. So noting that this is not about you two, it's about the slip lane. And I haven't heard much about the slip lane. I do have a question around whether Ferndale itself was included in the consultation, but that's about it.
Unfortunately, no. So we weren't aware that it was a satellite school, and I think it's a bit sad that it didn't come up during the meetings with the school as well. So yeah, that's our bad. We didn't identify that as part of consultation and they weren't consulted on as a result. So take that into account, I suppose. Yeah.
All right, it'd be good if somebody could have a chat to them before the works started.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're with the works, obviously, we'd engage with the people that the works were affecting. Yeah, we didn't do that engagement up front.
Thank you. So is there anything you'd like to draw our attention to in the report? You can take the report as read.
No.
Well, I'll move it then.
All right, do we just, Cindy?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, just to remind the board that following the agenda being published, there's that additional resolution with the landscape plan attachment. So just making sure that you're aware of that before we proceed.
Yes, there's that one mature tree that needs to be moved, but that obviously it has to be done. So yeah, there's no problem. Yanni, you have a question?
Yeah, it's just looking at the diagrams, it's just a little bit hard to understand. I'm just looking on page 59. Are you able just to give us a sense of where people will be stopping and picking up the kids? And what the difference is in terms of the previous capacity versus the new capacity?
Yeah. So on the diagram, you can see, yes, it's like on the screen.
You're just going to have to give me a moment.
Sure. The existing capacity is 24 car parks, and that's been altered to 16. Yeah. So.
There also was a question around, sorry to interrupt, but I just remembered that Sarah Alaka raised, which was about the 3 speed humps. Can you comment on that as well?
Yeah, I need to go and check, I guess, I think it's currently about 50 metre spacings, but it could be looked at and removed if warranted, and it could always be installed at a later date if there are issues beyond what is seen at the time. Once it's been installed.
I sort of think that if you look at those spacings, that's done to set a speed so that if someone decides to accelerate away, and the feedback where we were getting was there was quite a lot of silly behaviour. So that's been done such that the operation of speed is kept at, I think it's 20, 15 k's. So take that out, that does give the opportunity. What we have done, I think this is what was mentioned, is we've taken the speed hump out of the parking bay part, so it doesn't actually impact the people that we've just kept it in the through lane part, which when it's being used, then obviously people won't be able to go around the speed bump because people will be parking.
And so people come in and they come in and they just pull over like parallel to the left there.
Yeah,
and that's how it works, as opposed to going in and then reversing out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's so much safer.
It's so much safer. Yeah, coach. So people come in here and then they stop. And can they go across the white?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is just flush median. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just to separate, to try and keep the cars as far to the right as possible. So that when people are opening doors or if they do open doors, it's got that buffer.
So if someone's waiting here, someone can come in the front.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like an airport.
Yeah.
Drop off.
It's a good description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the P60 is all other times, and the P3 is the school.
Yeah.
Have you done any sort of modelling on, like, so obviously if you go from 24 to 16, you're going to have less capacity?
Yeah, there's less capacity, but there'll need to be more throughput. There'll need to be more enforcement, I would think, from the school. I don't know what discussions we've had.
Yeah, so we'll do some work with the school to come up with a parking plan. Obviously, the P3s, the idea is that the people that are coming into this area are only the people that are coming in, dropping off and going. And the encouraging thing is to push the P60 people further out. So this should just be used by those that just want to come, drop, or pick up and go. But the other thing is this will actually increase the flow through anyway, because when people are having to reverse out, they're unsure of what's behind them, so they're reversing out slowly, then people coming in are hesitant, and that actually, downgrades the flow of cars. So even though you've got less parking spaces, because the flow's better,
the volume be more.
Yeah, I mean, until we actually see action and people's behaviour, you don't know 100% of this.
We would people queue if like there's a reduction in capacity, and most people probably want to get to school at the time that there's right to pick up, not wait for someone. I mean, they won't know until they hear that there's no capacity.
Yeah.
So then what's the kind of modelling showing that where they would go and what they would do?
We haven't actually modelled the whole flow through it, so we haven't done any actual modelling. We just basically maximise the safety within what we've got. So at the end of the day, people will come in, it'll end up onto the street as it is at the moment. If you've got too many people in there, you've got people waiting for parking spaces. As I say, the work that they'll do with the school is to encourage the other places. So I know you said you didn't like it, but one of the things was across the road in Chelsea Street, because they do have people on the crossing, on the signalised crossing to help the children across.
Yeah.
So that'd be one, and there's further up Linwood Ave as well.
I might just mention that there's a craft report coming to the community board on the Chelsea Street renewal. So I think that's some learnings that we can maybe work with the school on as well.
Right. Is there in front of us, could we build in a review period after 3 months or term one that we just review, get like a memo back to the board about how it's working, just in case there are any concerns?
Yeah, we could. I mean, the question is, what would you do if it wasn't operating how you want it to operate? I guess that's the thing. I mean, what would be the next step? I mean, they looked at we've looked at it, I suppose, from both ends, because originally they looked at putting the parking on Linwood Ave itself and getting rid of the slip lane completely. And that's how it came to us as a project. But once we started digging in a bit deeper, it became obvious that that was actually a less safe option than what we got. So to maximise what we've got, and like the fences we put in, if you look on the top of it there's a fence that runs, the other one actually in the slip lane that runs all the way along. Now that was put in because the school basically told us if you don't put things in to stop behaviour, people do it. So we've done that such that people can't actually open their doors.
Yeah, it's really good
when they're parked there. So people aren't going to just stop in the middle of the road to get out of their car and leave their car there, which apparently has been happening. So
thank you.
We've literally done everything what we could to mitigate what the school has brought to us within that space.
And it's really great, that we had the chair of the board to come and be so supportive of it. We have quite a bit of work to get through, and I think the board is very supportive. So thank you, and you're welcome to sit back in the gallery, and we'll just have our board discussion.
Thank you very much.
Would you actually move it? Moved by, oh no, it's moved by Tim. Okay, so we have the motion, it's the staff recommendation. Do we have any debate? Okay, no debate. No, yes, we do have debate.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to acknowledge the work that staff have done. I think the point was made that there's pretty limited opportunities to do anything more than what's being proposed. I think this does raise a question of when are we going to meet with the Ministry of Education around how they design schools when they're doing rebuilds, and it does seem absolutely bizarre that the Ministry of Education doesn't seem to have any thought the impact of traffic in terms of safety, and we just have to pick it up as a council. But I've had so many complaints from people around the dangerousness of this school in terms of pickup. So I really look forward to us trying to do everything we can to make it safer, but hopefully when we meet with the Ministry of Education at some point as a board, we can just kind of get a bit of sense of how they sort of model what's happening, because I'm also mindful that a number of schools in the east are just bursting at the seams in terms of capacity, and obviously that creates a lot more demand on pickup and drop off. So, but just want to acknowledge staff for the work that they've done, and I'm really glad that we're finally getting progress on this long-standing issue. Thank you.
Yep. It is excellent to have this to the point we have it now, and I look forward to hopefully having it done by Christmas. But I don't know what the time frame will be. Lots of hopeful smiles there from staff. I'll pay that
by February the 5th. You mean?
Yes. So does anybody else have anything they wish to say? No. The motion will now be put. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. All right. Thank you very much. So now we move on to the Oric Crescent Cow Street intersection improvements. So we have Gemma and Hannah here to talk about that. So again, to take the report as read in this. So is there anything you'd like to draw our attention to? I guess the main thing is about the effect of the changes that will mitigate some of the problems that have been identified in the consultation.
Yeah, we thought that sorry, kia ora, Gemma speaking. We thought that the feedback was quite mixed to make a really informed decision. I think some of the comments around has the intersection affected boy racer antisocial behaviour, and a lot said yes. I think that's just around the wider area rather than at the specific intersection. So maybe we could have changed our questions a little bit. Really, I have spoken to our asset team. They are looking at a reseal next year, so we could look to provide some more permanent infrastructure at that time. But currently we're just looking to improve on what's there with the speed cushions, see if that helps even further, and that would just give us some extra time to figure out a more permanent solution with the community as well. And we've heard about the other locations. It's not something we could probably address through this, but if we can think of a low-cost treatment, we can talk to the community about that.
Thank you, Gemma. Kelly?
Thank you, and thanks for starting this whole process in the first place, because obviously there were complaints about this intersection. And I think that the speed cushions are a good idea. Just a couple of questions. Where would we go to look at further traffic calming measures throughout the rest of Avondale?
Yeah, so we through the slow speed neighbourhood program, when we changed the speed limits, we did say we'd do some additional traffic surveys, and that we would look to kind of an evidence-based approach to implementing more traffic calming. We still need to do that, and I think if we could do it with the neighbourhood association and the residents, then we'd try to get the best outcomes for the neighbourhood on, I guess, the budget that's available.
And just another question, in terms of how can I phrase this? In terms of the suggestion that was made for a permanent solution by Tony, who's one of the local residents, how likely is it that you would look at something like that? Obviously, it's got to fit in with your criteria, etc.
So they are both local roads, and something that improves the amenity of that space. It's fully encouraged, and it's just something that we would need to work through to align with any works that are happening through there in the future. We'd do some additional consultation. I was a little bit confused with the angles of the triangle on the side road as to whether that restricted turning movements, which I don't think the residents would want. So we would just need to work through that, but just making it more of a standard intersection from a neighbourhood perspective would have benefits for that street. It's one of the biggest intersections on a local street I've ever seen.
And I'll just pass on that, I actually put my phone number on the Facebook page, and so that people who don't want to, get attacked on Facebook pages can actually phone me direct. And I did have a few phone calls, people saying that they were really pleased with the option. It seems to be that some people are not happy with the look of the temporary restrictions, but I think it's a really good option to find it. So good on you. Thank you.
Right. Any further questions? Rick?
Just around, there's a couple of driveways that back onto those intersections. Is it a standard thing just to have a roundabout set up with someone backing into it? Is there potential of exiting your property?
So on local streets, it's probably more common. I think having the speed cushions, and which will make people slow down even further, will help with people backing out. We do try and encourage people to come out in forward gear, so if they can reverse into their driveway, it just means that they're more visible when they come. Everyone else is more visible when they're coming out. But whether a roundabout is the long-term solution, I think we just need to work that through with the community and look at some other options if we're going to do permanent works at that site.
Yeah, having spoken with other residents in that area, they've also raised that point that it solved a number of issues in that area and just with elsewhere. So it's that wider plan, I think, obviously, is ideal going forward to look at the whole area as a whole rather than intersection by intersection.
Yeah, and it is an area that we do ask the police to enforce on the antisocial behaviour front, because we have had the constant feedback either through slow speed neighbourhoods, this roundabout, or the safe speed neighbourhood program we've just consulted on as well. So they're fully aware.
All right, any further questions of staff? No? All right, well, thank you very much. We'll now have, is there any discussion? I don't think so. All right, would someone like to move the staff recommendation then? Moved by Kelly, seconded by Greg. All right, motion will now be put. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you very much. All right, and the next one is proposed names for 64A Bayswater.
I'll move the staff recommendation.
You can't move it and then leave, Tim.
Can't move it and leave,
It lapsed.
sorry about that. You missed it, you're done.
But I will move the staff recommendation. It's good that you're back here so quickly, and I'm happy with the option that has come back. Did you have any additional information to provide to us?
Not really. We're looking at whether or not we can get a pool of te reo names that are acceptable. So you'll see in the report that there are a number of names there that could potentially, they're ones that are pulled from other instances where they were previously okayed. Just still in that difficult spot where we don't, ideally we'd have a list to draw from. So we're looking at that.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, with that in mind, I'm happy to put the staff recommendation and seconded by Celeste. Seconded by Celeste. I'll just say that I'm glad that we made the decision we did. We come back with a really good solution, and thank you for your work. Put the motion now. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Right, thank you. All right. Next is the Rafiti Reserve proposed lease, New Brighton Olympic Athletics Club. Bearing in mind that we have approved the lights, it would be a bit strange of us not to approve the lease. Is there any additional information outside of what's in the report or anything you'd like to draw to our attention?
Me? No. It's pretty self-explanatory.
In that case, I think we have moved by Jackie, seconded by Celeste. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Right, thank you, and sorry for keeping you so long. Jackie.
Yes, hello.
Not
Sorry.
No, we've got a couple of traffic things to do.
Oh, have we? Oh, sorry, I was getting.
That's all right. I'm glad you're keen.
Sorry, but everything is not hungry. Traffic is not, apologies.
Welcome, Edwin. We've got the Bournemouth Crescent, no stopping restrictions, which seems pretty straightforward.
Yep.
And then the Travis Road, which seems slightly more complicated. So do we have any questions about Bournemouth? It's just a no stopping lines on the corner of the street. Happy to move that. Seconded by Greg. Any further? No. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right, thank you very much. Travis Road. Does anybody have any questions about this? I imagine it's an area that's a bit more familiar to some of you, so I want to make sure. So Celeste, you have a question, and then Kelly.
I'll just get you to recap in the 25 minutes or less. It's meant to be 25 minutes, but in a very simple sense, like the issue, because it's been quite confusing reading it through.
So originally there's the residents actually wanting the parkings to be removed because they have this issue with visibility coming out from the driveways. We don't normally remove parking just for them unless there's certain criteria that have to be made. Like that driveway has to be busy and 200, at least 200 vehicles coming in and out of that driveway. But for this instance, the reason we go ahead for proposing to have that P3 parking removed is because that two parkings actually is substandard width, and then you have the cycle lane which is narrow. When you have that parking, and then the cycle lane becomes narrower, so that will be endangering the cyclists. So under the option consideration, we do have another option of retaining the P3 parking, but then we sort of shift everything further and then reducing the flush median. But that doesn't actually help because that has a shorter taper length, which actually will be kind of in conflict with the cyclists when they're coming, especially when there's a existing refuge island, which is right there when you're coming from the east, and that we are certainly endanger the sometimes the student will actually stand on the flush median as well, waiting to cross the road as well. So we thought in this instance, we just removed the parkings there, the 2 parkings, P3 parkings. And then we also found out that the marking there are also not according to the width. The parking there is not 2 meters wide, and then that affects the cycle lane as well as the traffic lane as well. So we had to readjust the traffic lane and for the cycle lane as well to make it to the standard width.
Makes clear.
Sorry.
Yeah, all right. And any
thanks, Edwin. Is this also, are the changes also related to the concern that residents opposite the exit from the 2 high schools had about people coming out and then turning west towards towards the west?
They did make a complaint to us. We did have a discussion with the school, and it is because that restriction, the no right turn restriction, is actually within their school boundaries, which is not under council jurisdiction. So to enforce it, so we asked them to talk to their board and then consider whether it's necessary to keep it there and to remove it. It's up to them to decide. But we thought that it can stay or it can be removed, because to us, I think there's no problem to actually turn right out, and the visibility is not actually blocked by anything. Yeah.
I'm sure it will help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
One more question?
Very quick one, just following on from Kelly's point. I understand that part wasn't anything we could do on that side, but in the middle strip, to stop people doing a U-turn there, was there anything we could do in terms of extending the having a wee island there or something along those lines in terms of council road?
I'm not aware of any U-turn at the moment. So at the moment I'm not aware of that any U-turn.
Right.
But there's a possibility in the future to make an upgrade in that area.
Thank you very much, Edwin. I guess we'll have our discussion. Is anybody willing to move the staff recommendation? Celeste, seeing a Greg. All right. Any debate? No. Well, motion will now be put then. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Carried. Thanks, Edwin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Edwin.
So now, Jackie, here you are. All right, we have the application from Canterbury Golf.
Happy to move. Oh, a little bit of information as well, just. Okay, is that the RATA application has been approved for the $2,000, and that the Sprat and Cashmere board will consider it this Thursday at their meeting. So it's looking favourable for that one.
And this, it's great to see something that has been an elite sport really focused on becoming, we're really lucky in Canterbury. If you're into golf, there's actually a whole bunch of golf courses you can go to that are fairly affordable, which isn't the case everywhere. And although I'm terrible at golf, I have enjoyed playing it from time to time. I talked to someone a few years ago who was passionate about making it more accessible, and there's somebody who came from a really abusive background and actually managed to kind of get out through golf. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Totally understand the objective of the project. Have they applied for Te Ihi funding? Because I'm just mindful that government has got a huge amount of funding into Māori recreation, and this would seem a perfect fit for it. So
certainly not for this particular project, but I'm not sure about their other programs that they run. So it would be a question I'd ask them.
Yeah, I think that would be quite useful. I don't know how do we work with Sport Canterbury around funding opportunities for these groups when they're applying to us to check if they've
definitely. And I suppose it's around if they've indicated which other funders they're applying to. In this instance, they've just come to us in Rata and used some funds on hand. But certainly if they are applying, or if they've got a shortfall, then I'd be recommending to Manawa funding from Sport Canterbury.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, like, before it gets to the board, is there a process for us to make them aware of these other funding opportunities? Because this seems like something that would fit a lot of that funding, rather than just coming to us for funding.
Okay.
Yanni, just so that I can confirm, because I know from someone who's recently had a conversation, Jackie, that they're very grateful for being given a whole bunch of other information about other funders and that kind of thing. So it is part of the process. It's part of what makes what we provide as a community board and as a council really good.
Yeah, sorry, I understand that. I guess the concern is that we can't just keep funding things that government have actually put specific funding aside for, because we're going to run out of money. And, like, we're getting increasing pressure from a number of places to fund different things that government is cutting funding to. Where government's providing funding, we should be trying to maximise that funding going into our communities. So, and I'm sure our staff do try and do that, but I wonder, I guess the concern is that some of these groups may not even be aware that these funding sources exist.
And as you're aware, effectively the council has continued to cut the Strengthening Communities Fund over the last several decades, effectively in real terms. So yeah, I think it seems like a metropolitan level thing that needs to be addressed. All right. So in terms of this particular application, any further questions? No. Well, happy to move. Jackie moved it, seconded by Celeste. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. All right. The next one is the Lions Community Sports and Education Trust. Now, this is specifically for some individual young people to go to competition.
Happy to move.
Yeah. You got a question?
Question first. I sent through an email about.
My apologies.
So just this week, 4 of the students, I believe, have gone to Ames Games, where they've self-funded around $1,000. Was that taken into consideration as for that the recommendation is $200?
As in why it's that amount? Would you like it to be higher or lower? Is it?
I was just wondering if that was taken into consideration at that point.
No, it wasn't. They certainly didn't indicate that they were having any kind of issues around fundraising for those other costs. So that information wasn't shared with me. But I think given the number of applications we've had into youth development currently, we've been quite conservative with the amounts that we're recommending so that we can try and cover as many young people as possible. Yeah. So that's why is that amount. Yeah.
Yanni.
Thank you. Just sorry to don't quite understand the SAS Australasian Slam Basketball Tournament. Are you able to give us a little bit more understanding what that is? Is that like a national?
There's a little paragraph, I think 4.6, which talks about the tournament itself. I hadn't heard of it. Yeah. So it's got a little bit further information. It actually does cover through to adults. And it's the first time that this group has attended this tournament. And because it was the reason that they went to it is because they competed so well in this last season. So they wanted to give them a further challenge and extend them. So it's the first time that they're attending.
Sorry, I'm just trying to understand, is it like is it like does, Basketball New Zealand operate it? Does it, is it like I mean, I've just been at the coast and played in the thing called the Marist Cup, which is, like the Catholics obviously have their own sports program. I guess I'm just trying to understand, like,
sort of tournament.
Is this a national kind of tournament, or is this sort of a standalone kind of something that someone's just set up and then teams just get to choose to
But
go?
I have to check that for you, Yanni. I can't answer that for you. Sorry, I didn't do a big deep dive into it, but it's certainly teams from Australia and New Zealand.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We had a mover was Kelly, seconded by Jackie. All those, any debate? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you. And the next one is the Champ Nation Academy Incorporated, which is I'm happy to move. Any questions about this one? Yanni?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, just kind of concerned that this is more of a western sort of like St Thomas and Wharton, and there's 6 from Sherwood Boys, and they would say that this would seem to me to be
split though.
Metropolitan, or because I thought we funded other organisations that things were less percentage or high percentage. So I'm just trying to.
In the recommendation, it's a split between us and
areas. That's right.
And so we're only funding in proportion to the number of children, young people.
So, but why wouldn't this be seen as a metropolitan?
Because it needs to be 4 or more to be metropolitan.
So it's 4.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay. And so is this kind of a common approach that we take with a number of the community organisations, where they have to break down where people come?
Yes, and because their numbers are quite small, with 34 at the moment, they were able to give us all of their current membership, and this is where they're residing. So that was they were very specific.
Cool. And again, like some of the question, have we referred them to the Māori the funding that's available for Māori sports and recreation?
So they're having conversations with Sport Canterbury around the Te Manawa funding. They're quite a new group. They're recently incorporated. So they received a little bit of capacity building funding through the Australian Kashmir Community Board to start with for term 1 this year, and then they are really kind of increasing the number of funding applications that they're putting out there to look at how they're going to fund the rest of the program for next year.
And just, I just want to underline, that it's part of the process that they are referred to, given advice by other funders. That's what happens. It's a normal part of the process, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I've moved that. Does someone like to second it? Seconded by Celeste. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right, thank you. And the next one is the alcohol ban on QE2 Park, which we had a substantial resolution about, and that's just a board recommendation to council from correct. That staff investigate establishing an alcohol ban. That's right, and its surrounding streets on event days under the same process that was used for, say, the Wilson alcohol ban, which is now permanent. So I think we had a very comprehensive presentation. We don't have. Does anyone have questions from Cindy?
No, I'm just happy to move.
Happy to move by Jackie, seconded by Greg.
Look, Greg's not 20, come on.
It is a competition. Seconded by Greg. Any discussion? Yep. Yeah, like.
Always happy to support an alcohol ban. I think we need more of them across the city.
It's just an events one though.
I know, but yeah, it's all heading in the right direction. So more than happy to support.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? No, well, likewise, I'm happy to support this. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right, and now we move on to the meeting schedule. Two things. One is that because of at the moment it is just scheduled to be in we can change location, but scheduled to be here in the boardroom. The logistics required to have meetings that are live streamed in other locations makes it quite difficult. And then and at the moment, the briefings are scheduled to be in, don't have a location. We can change those locations as it happens. That's a lot easier to do. And the only other thing that we may consider, which is in the staff recommendation, is if we want to have when at some points, because this has been raised a few times, when council is on recess, we may wish to have a recess from community board. So say, for instance, in July, during the council recess in July, we may wish to do that. Cindy, did you wish to speak to?
I'm happy to take the report as read. I think it's self-explanatory, like Paul indicated. The brief and locations haven't been identified. I think that's a task for the new year. Once everyone's settling back in, I can check availabilities for other community loading centres and locations in the community.
Yeah, so it's just giving us maximum flexibility and potential to respond proactively to have it, so we can have meetings in communities where it might be particularly important. Celeste?
Very quick question about briefings. In terms of determining the location, is it practice to consider in terms of the topic?
So that is ideally what I try to work towards, but sometimes it's not always possible. And I will try and make it even for all 3 ward areas as well. So Burwood, Linwood and Coastal. So
good, thank you.
All right, any questions, Yanni?
So, I just wonder whether we could have some of the meetings in the Linwood boardroom, like.
So I don't think the positions changed from the last time that was discussed. So that's why this has been proposed.
What's the position?
So whatever the response you received from the manager the last time or the similar report for 23 meetings were presented, that hasn't changed. So
because I just wonder, like, when we're doing like some of the craft stuff, areas like the Wine Street renewal, it would seem a shame not to have a board meeting at the Linwood boardroom, and I can't see what the logistic challenges would be.
So from my recollection, the technology isn't complete, but there isn't a complete set of technology there to host the board meeting like we have the microphones due to the changes after the representation review. And I'm not aware that that's been replaced as of yet, being that we're only at the beginning of the financial year.
Okay. Again, I guess the people that made submissions to the review feel quite disappointed that they were told there'd be no decision on where board meetings were going to be, and they were told it would be open to where it would go, and that it wouldn't necessarily be in Brighton. But we don't seem to have had any discussion about that. So I just wonder at what point can we have that discussion as a board?
And we did inherit that situation, and I think if the board were minded to, we could ask for that we could ask to have that boardroom made suitable for having community board meetings.
Yeah.
I don't think we could do that now because we don't have the information required to make that decision.
And I mean, as you said, these can change, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. There is a no. To amend the ordinary meeting schedule as required. So absolutely, if there is a compelling reason and a suitable location, and not necessarily the Linwood boardroom, but for example, the Boston Community Library or the Bromley Community Centre, if there's a compelling reason that we should have our meeting there for a specific topic or for the number of public participations, then by all means, the chair and I can work
the
on
only other
organising that.
question I was going to have is whether it would be possible. We used to have occasionally have meetings on the Marae at the OFR, and I wonder in terms of our cultural. I know Celeste, I think, has raised the question, but can we consider having a meeting at the Marae to recognise?
we certainly can.
Yeah, or maybe
and I guess the flip side of that is while we can make an approach to the marae, it has to be we have to do that with respect, and it's not simply a matter of booking up space.
So yeah.
I'll add
But
that
I
on-
feel like,
I'll
I
add
don't
that to
know,
the list.
I don't know, is it, I'm not sure which, is the local Waitai Art area.
No, to Lahiri.
So it would be, to a hearing.
Yeah, but so there's not a Ngāi Tahu marae within our board area, as far as I'm aware.
Right, yes. Cool, okay, thanks.
All right, well, in that case, I'm happy to move the staff recommendation and seconded by Celeste. Any further discussion? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right, and so now we're on to the community board area report.
Happy to second.
Cindy, would you like to
Sorry,
provide?
I just wanted to add one more thing. Thanks. It's a team effort. It wasn't just me. So you'll note in the engagement section of the area report, there is mention of the Whakatahi Speed Management Plan 24-27. I've received some feedback and noting the public forum presentation we received before about Polaris.
Yeah.
Are there any other state highway roads that the board wish or have heard from the community that they would like Whakatahi to be aware of for consideration in their speed management plan 24-27? So today was the opportunity for feedback from the board members so I can incorporate that back to Whakatahi.
I mean, we've only got that little section really, and that's which has come up, but Yanni?
I think, I mean, Garland's Road, Rutherford Street, Dyers Road, that whole stretch.
Is that all state highway?
It's all state highway.
So with Garland.
And it's more like trying to get them to have, like some more considerations of cycling and pedestrian safety. And so it's not, I mean, maybe the speed's one aspect of it, but it's also like, can you also do other things?
They are putting in cycle lanes almost all the way along there. It's just that one section they're not, right? Painted cycle lanes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's dangerous, man. Like if you look at the heavy vehicles going around those corners and you look at Garland's Road, where a Power Road or Port Hills Road, Brown Street kind of comes in and the speed and, the Radley intersection, right? So I just think it would be good to raise.
But this is just
speed management.
Just speed management. So putting aside the stuff that I don't have a problem with it, but putting aside that and focusing on the speed.
I guess the problem is that, so while 50 might be the kind of default speed through those areas, people are going a lot faster. So unless they do safety things, then we don't really effectively get that speed. So I don't know whether that.
Yeah, I mean, people drive at 60 k's down in that stretch that you referred to. Yeah.
So as you'll see from the resolution that's on the screen, I've just included the one that I was aware of. So you want me to include Garland's and Rutherford Street or?
Well, sorry, the point, I guess the point is that they're already 50.
Okay.
The problem is that there's not the safety sort of.
So what I interpreting what you've said, I think it's safety improvements to slow traffic to within the speed limit. Yeah.
And also like the footpath, so Pearl Norris, there's no footpath.
But that's not speed though. Like, while I agree with you, it's not within the realm of what we're being asked to submit on. Celeste.
Dyers Road, which is 70. I don't know but it would be good to get it considered because that is actually if people are such a
the whole of Dyers Road, sorry.
It would be from the Bridge Street roundabout really to where because it turns to 50 partway along that road.
I mean, it's an industrial area that's quite wide, and we're so the Whakatahi say that there's not currently enough evidence to suggest that they need to put in a cycle lane in that area, and so we're just asking them to look at slowing it down to a more. Are you suggesting a speed Or just
I'm not suggesting a speed.
an investigation?
Just to review it,
Yeah.
because I think there aren't any other options if you're heading towards summer.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Bridge Street roundabout to.
What would be the next?
Oh, it's Linwood, Humphreys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've liked it hundreds of times. It is nice and wide, but anyway, so.
So I think you like that.
Humphreys is E-ways.
Hundreds of times.
Then the confident, not the confident.
It's just so wide. But like it.
Yeah.
And any other state highway. So, you know, that. No, all right.
Quickly, the one when you're going through Bridge Street, does it say Dyers as you're getting past the Pages Road turn off in Brighton? Because there's quite a lot of.
So it's Dyers until it gets to Bridge Street, and then it becomes Anzac.
Could we just have Dyers and Anzac? Because I know that I've certainly had a few incidents along Anzac in the car, with people overtaking and doing crazy things.
Yeah.
So
She was like, what have you been
when you
doing?
say Anzac,
Yeah.
you mean Anzac from Bridge Street?
Yeah.
To
Pages.
I'd say just past Pages if possible. What's the roundabout? Wainoni. Yeah.
Okay, bear with me. So, because I just want to get this clear, Anzac Drive. Wainoni,
Please.
that road.
Yeah.
And then investigation to reduce speed.
Any further? All right, well, would someone like to move that?
Happy to move.
Um,
I thought it was been done. You moved it and
No.
did I second it?
Yeah.
Well, we hadn't finished the motion yet,
Oh,
so.
well, I could get in here.
Jackie's moved. Seconded by Kelly. Question of,
It's on the aerial report.
is it about the
It's
report?
next, though, isn't it?
Oh, no, we've been talking about the report.
Yeah, Kelly.
Okay, so is this gonna, so we've received the report and we're running to Waka Kotahi. We can move that. If anything comes out of the question, then we can put a separate resolution. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carry. All right, Yanni, question of staff. We're
The Linfield parking, like, I'm just quite frustrated with the response, which basically just seems to be, no, we can't do it. So
about
this
the
is-
planting.
Yeah, so this is the berms around the Linfield sports area, and we got a really comprehensive memo back that basically said an assessment would need to be carried out to identify which areas are suitable for planting. But then the kind of agenda memo back that we just got is, significant budget beyond what we currently have for this type of work, go to the LTP. It just, I don't know, like it seems to kind of miss the whole point. We're not looking for like a massive complete reconstruction of the road. It's just to put, some basic planting to prevent people from parking on the berm, which is destroying the berm and creating safety hazards. So I just feel, I don't know, I just feel a bit disappointed in the memo response based on the scale of the problem and
I guess,
previous memo.
I guess, like, if I feel your frustration, but the question is how much planting do they think would be necessary in order to try and mitigate the problem? It seems like they think it would be a significant amount.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then yeah, where's the funding? Where's the money going to come from? Right. I agree that there's a problem and that we should
Yeah, like we've got
get it.
program budgets to do minor safety, but
Yes, but is that a minor safety or a significant? Because they're saying it's a significant planting.
But I just don't. I mean, it would have been good to just get an idea of like what the costs were, for example, or what the options were if we wanted to do something.
Well, we could ask for an estimate of what would be required to fund that planting. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Do you want to move something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be good.
Do you have any words?
No, maybe just I don't know. Do you want to just hold that advice over to the next area report, and then we can just I mean, because I'm just mindful of time, but there's a lot of other things in that initial report that we haven't got answered.
So you're saying you don't want to move anything?
No, I'm happy to, I'm just mindful of time.
Yeah, we'll sort that and then we'll go to members info because I know Celeste has one thing. And I.
Look at the actions.
Hmm?
Actions. The lower 6 road and the Cumberland Street.
Well, those we've already resolved on those, I think.
And then there was one that we had to bring up in the elected members,
Sticks,
Mill Cycleway.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Thanks for recalling that. No, that was a petition, so we've already resolved on that.
So Yanni, something along the lines of what's in blue on the screen?
It's not Linfield Park, it's the berm. Where illegal, I mean, it's really understand what the cost would be to prevent illegal parking on the berms surrounding Linfield Park.
Yeah, it's referring to the area report, so the information is there.
Yeah, but there's also like issues around things like the bowling club as well, being clearly signposted.
That wasn't that, sorry to interrupt you, Yanni.
Yeah.
So that response, that memo was sent to staff to answer that one question because that is the unit that he is responsible for, or with regards to the other stuff, that would have been reported back when you was with Linwood Central Heathcote. So
we can follow. You can follow that in a. So let's. So you want to move that?
Sure.
I'm happy to second it. Any discussion? No. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right. We will now move on to elected members information exchange. Just got a few minutes and staff have very, because we had such a big agenda, staff have been very kind and have been prepared to stay back a bit longer. Celeste.
Good job.
Just very quickly, I was just wanting to see if the board will support us writing a letter to the probably MSD and the police to see if we can get some funding for safety initiatives, specifically to the Guardians. Because if they would agree to fund it through some of their pots of funding, which could be the proceeds of Crime Act and other things, then obviously that would free us up to fund other things.
Around here.
Yeah, so we've already got funding for 6 months in the law, so it would be about funding it for a further 2 years. So it effectively it'd be just
It's been successful prior, right? So we have.
Yeah, this is the second time.
Yeah. So
we're running it. So it's just a request the board write a letter. Would we write it? I'm not quite clear on who we'd write it to. Would it be to MSD? Would be, I think.
We can write to MSD and the police and why not? We can always ask.
Yeah, so it would be for the Brighton Guardians and other safety initiatives. Just
If they're wanting to partner with the Community Board of Council.
Yeah.
Yep. So if the members are happy, I can write that letter and I'll bounce it off.
Cool.
I'll send it around just so that people are happy with it.
That was it, and then the other one was around the lower sticks, which I think we've captured.
So the lower sticks one, which you've got the note.
Yeah, so we'll refer to staff for investigation and response. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Jackie.
Just one final thing, we have our compost meeting tomorrow night for the 3 out of Bromley people. If you want to come along, you're welcome. It is only on the consultation and we will have laptops and things there for people to do.
And it's only for Bromley residents. There are some people outside that have very strong opinions. So you're welcome. Like elected members are welcome.
Elected members are welcome, but you're expected to bring a device to help.
Yeah, if you could bring a laptop, that would be great. It's really to support Bromley people to make sure that their voice is heard in the consultation. Right, Yanni?
Do you have enough hard copies?
We'll get some printed off.
We'll have hard copies.
Good.
The only thing was just a little bit of a note on the walkway that was next to the tennis club from out of Preston's Park. I think that post asking for support is probably the largest response from that residents group that had on a post at any stage as well. And it was all positive around that as well. So
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a no-brainer to me.
Did we resolve to do anything about it?
Refer it to staff for investigation on the site, so.
Yeah, yeah, we're all, I think we're all tied up. Final thing, Ian?
Yeah, I was just wondering if we can get a memo updating us on what's happening with all the craft and surf projects, or whether there's any sort of update that's going to come. I'm just mindful that we've been briefed on some changes that have taken funding away from some of the projects. Like Street.
Sorry to interrupt. So just on that, so and a reminder to all elected members that the surf projects are metropolitan. You will get those updates via your council briefings, and I'm under the impression that you're likely to be making decisions on some of them in September, if not all of them.
Yeah, it's just that there's change.
Can you listen to some of this?
Oh yeah, no, I have. Yeah, so
you're still talking when you interrupt.
Sorry.
So we've had an update today on New Brighton Craft, so staff will go away and work on that. And in relation to the Linwood Craft, prior to the briefing this afternoon, I'd had already spoken to staff and they are penciling in an update to the community board. So I think an action wouldn't be appropriate at this stage. However, in the next few months, if nothing has been received, then absolutely I would encourage you to request that.
So can I just check for clarity, things like projects being stopped or having changed budgets or changed from craft to surf or surf to craft, who are we best to approach around that? Is it the community board staff or is it just?
That's definitely an Office of the Chief Executive request,
right?
Because ultimately it's metropolitan. The only thing that isn't is craft.
Yeah.
However,
there's a craft
with Linwood and craft and surf, there's been lots of confusion. So that is definitely a request through the Office of the Chief Executive.
All right. All right, mate. Well, on that note, let us say our new karakia whakamutanga.
It's not even here.
I need to find it.
This is going to be fun.
We'll just do it slowly. Here we go. Kia tau te rangi mā e, o te rangi e tū I honei, o papa tua nuku e tako tōnei, o te tai ao e awhi nei, ki runga I a tātou, te hei mauri.
Praise the Lord.
Got a practice required on that, you reckon?
You reckon?
I've just got the other one sorted and it's like, let's